Waiverville, these players you heard, we add them, we certainly will. Or some Yahoo points, ESPN thrills. Bet the fab budget make a person chill. You guessed it. In this episode, we're going to talk about the top waiver wire targets you need to focus on for week 6 of the NBA season. We believe every NBA fan that plays fantasy football should also play fantasy basketball. So here we are in week 6 cooking up. I have some breaking news. I was playing basketball with my son again, and yes, I have another injury. This time it's a heel spur and apparently like some kind of tendonitis or an Achilles strain. It's actually a big deal. I'm sitting in here hobbling around as we go into the Thanksgiving holiday. So for this round, I'm going to just provide the value in and out so I can go back to icing my foot, taking my inflammatory medicine, and just trying to heal up as we get ready for week 6. So let's jump right into the value. The first player we want to talk about is from the Washington Wizards. Now I get it. There is tons of value in Washington right now for fantasy basketball, but this guy is someone that is an oldie but goodie. We are talking about Malcolm Brogden. Yes, Malcolm Brogdon is healthy. And honestly, I had pretty low expectations for him going into the season. I kind of felt like Washington just had him. They had too many young players they were trying to kind of roll with, and they wouldn't have a lot of opportunity for him. But in his first few games, he kind of ramped up slowly, had a dud his first game against Detroit on the 17th of November. Then his next game on the 18th, he picked it up a little bit. But then on the 22nd against Boston, he played 26 minutes, put up 18 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, ended up with a bunch of fantasy points. So this is a huge signal for me. And I think Malcolm Brogdon's track record when given the opportunity kind of justifies the pickup, because you don't know what could be if he could consistently get 26 minutes a game. Now, one theory that I have is that possibly the Washington Wizards are trying to just get him the run to see if they could increase his trade value. And then once he's, shown that he still has it, then they'll probably move on from him. So whether it's short-term value or if it's something that Malcolm Brogdon becomes a long-term hold, we don't know yet. But for me, he's only rostered in 42% of ESPN leagues, so he's available in a lot of fantasy spaces. Listen, it's worth a shot. He was the rookie of the year at one point, a consistent contributor on a bunch of different teams. Grab yourself some Malcolm Brogdon. So the next player we want to talk about is getting some run because of key injury, specifically a key injury. From the Dallas Mavericks, we're talking about ja boy Quinton Grimes. Now, Luka Doncic is out, and I think he's going to be reevaluated in another week or so. So there's going to be value in week 6 for Quinton Grimes, and he's been putting on for the city. Over the last 7 days, he's averaging 10 points a game, 4.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists, about a half a steal. But in his recent games, on the 22nd against Denver, he had 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and check this out, 2 steals in that game. There's more. On the 19th against New Orleans, 23 minutes, 12 points, 8 rebounds, right? 3 assists, right? No steals, but 1 block. Listen, while Luka Doncic is out, Quinton Grimes is going to get extra minutes. And you know what that means. Top is off, boobies is out, hair blowing in the frickin' wind. Come on, man. So listen, for me, I'm picking up Quinton Grimes. I remember when he used to play for the Knicks. Like he can put up numbers when he gets the opportunity. And with Luka banged up, this is a prime example of next man up. Grab yourself some Quinton Grimes. Next up, we're going to give you some double trouble. So like these guys, we're going to do 2 players back to back, and they are connected. Honestly, they've been connected since birth. They've been connected since the womb. I'm talking about Caleb and Cody Martin. We're going to start off with my man Caleb. Now, there's opportunity in Philadelphia, huh? Like, honestly, it's kind of like imploding a little bit with the whole Joel Embiid situation. Then we got Paul George banged up. The good news is that people are stepping up like Jared McCain, like Caleb Martin. So over the last 7 days, Caleb Martin has been putting up some decent numbers, 30 minutes a game, which is a great signal, 8 points, 2.7 rebounds, 2.7 assists. But check this out, 1 steal per game. And there's more, 1.7 blocks per game. Let that sink in. And for me, in this kind of short-term opportunity with wings banged up like PG-13, Caleb Martin will be consistent for you. Over the last couple of games, he put up 10 points on the 22nd against Brooklyn with 4 assists and a block. On the 20th against Memphis, he played 32 minutes and swatted 3 shots. So he got 3 blocks, and he also got 1 steal that day. So, like, 4 defensive stats. Like, yo, your man is really, really going to produce for you. But again, you got to also, like, be mindful of your expectations. You're not going to get, like, an explosive 70-point game from him if you're playing in the points league, but you will get production. So I'm grabbing Caleb Martin. And while I'm on it, let's go ahead and just talk about his brother, Cody Martin. Now, I watched one of their games recently. I think it was the game against Detroit, their playing game. Yo, your man was really doing his thing. In that game on the 21st of November, he played 36 minutes, so he was on the floor. It also went to overtime, so that probably counts as well. 15 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and check this out, 2 blocks. Huh? What? Where they do that at? Your man, Cody Martin, and his brother Caleb are cooking with hot bacon grease. Like, you want to make sure these guys are at least streaming options for you as you go into week 6, because they will have a really, really decent floor in terms of what you're going to get. So for me, I'm grabbing both of the brothers. And then we got twins in the NBA like it's nobody's business. I'm old school, so I remember Charles O'Bannon and Ed O'Bannon. Like, these guys are in the NBA. Cody, Caleb, we got Asar. I'm in. Like, it's going down. In fantasy, if I can get twins on my team, it always warms my heart. We're going to keep it pushing and get to our next player. But before we do that, I want to quickly talk about BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your #1 source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL, to UFC and MMA, head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. So the next player we want to talk about is somebody that I've picked up in a bunch of leagues. Another person that's taken advantage of a lot of injuries on their team from the Memphis Grizzlies, Jake Laravia. Jake Laravia, over the last 7 days, is averaging 22.8 minutes per game, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 4.8 assists, about a half a block. And check this out, 1.3 blocks per game. Only rostered in 10.5% of ESPN leagues. He has been doing his thing. Again, very consistent, very demure, very on point. So for me, not the sexiest name, right? But someone that will provide that consistent value that you're looking for when you're streaming players in, or if you want to have a week-long hold, or just kind of pay attention with what's happening in Memphis. Because, yo, it looks like a daggone fantasy basketball ER triage over there. Everybody's banged up. I got a team with Jaren Jackson, John Morant, Desmond Bane, and at one point, all of these guys have been banged up. So for me, I always look at that as an opportunity. A guy like Jake Laravia will be able to produce, but again, you want to make sure that you have the ability to be nimble. If you need to drop him, don't get too connected, right? And committed to these players that you're picking up off the waiver wire. As easily as you pick them up, you got to be able to drop them. The next player we want to dig into is my main man from the Orlando Magic, Anthony Black. Anthony Black has been doing his thing. Paolo Banchero is banged up, and guys are getting the opportunity to get some run. Over the last 7 days, Anthony Black is averaging 29 minutes per game. What? I don't give a shit, Sue Puppy. If Anthony Black can get 29 minutes a game, he's going to be okay. He's going to be able to provide some fantasy basketball value, especially in a points league. And you know here at Believe in Fantasy Basketball, we all about that points league life. Over the last 7 days, he's averaging 13 points per game. Yes. 2.3 rebounds. Maybe. 6.8 assists. Come on. 1.5 steals per game. Man, favorable work. On the 23rd against Detroit, he played 32 minutes, 11 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists. Check this out. 2 steals, and there's more. On the 18th against Phoenix, now this one gets me excited. 33 minutes per game. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists. What? And there's more. 3 steals in that game on the 18th against Phoenix. For me, listen, I'm really easy to impress when it comes to fantasy basketball. If you get minutes and if you can grab some defensive stats, the points and the rebounds work themselves out. In most situations, especially for guards, the assists work themselves out as well. But if you can get minutes, and then I see that you can gather, some defensive stats, for me, that is like a recipe for consistent production. So do yourself a favor, grab yourself some Anthony Black. Really quick, if you love this community and you want to invest in what we are building, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Think of it like treating me to a coffee and a bagel once a month. Becoming a paid subscriber will grant you access to our MVP Discord channel, priority DM and email replies, and priority rate my team videos over on TikTok. And most importantly, your support will help us to keep creating content. You are not obligated or expected to pay anything to be a part of this community. But there are expenses associated with running this operation, and your support will help us to keep this going for years to come. To get started, visit BelieveInFantasy.com, enter your email, and just select the level of support that works best for you. Now, I have another player I want to talk about, and I believe we talked about him earlier on in the season, but his name is kind of buzzing again. Another player that's getting an opportunity based on an injury, but I think he has some long-term value because he's a young player, he's a rookie, and I'm sure that the brass at his organization want to see what he can do. From the Portland Trailblazers, Donovan Kingan. I'll start by saying I drafted him in a bunch of spots. And I held, I dropped, and I'm holding right now. Over the last 7 days, Donovan Kingan is averaging 21 minutes per game, 6.3 points, 10.8 rebounds per game. Let that sink in. About a half an assist, maybe. And check this out. 1 steal per game. Oh, and there's more. This one warms my heart. I love this one. 2.5. 2.5 blocks per game over the last 7 days. I know what you're saying. That's just over the last 7 days, Robin. What about on a season? On the season, 2.2 blocks per game. So your man is like swatting them shots. He's on some real time defensive stuff. So for me, I'm interested. Now, DeAndre Ayton, I don't know what's going to happen long term with him. And I know that the Time Lord Robert Williams has also been getting some run. But the young man here, I'm confident that the leadership over at the Trailblazers organization, they want to see what this young man can do. So I think of those players, he might be the player that gets a lot of run down the stretch. Now, if Ayton is healthy, I'm confident that he'll be able to get back into the rotation and be the starter and be the main guy. But there's no telling what's going to happen at the trade deadline. There's no telling how good Kingan can be. And those defensive stats, looking the way they look right now, he is the type of player that I'm holding on to just so I can see what happens long term. You know what time it is. We're about to run through the rapid fire waiver wire list. Just to give you context, what I do is kind of create a document throughout the week of what's happening when players' names come up, whether I read articles, whether I watch videos from other analysts, or if it's just something that I'm seeing in my leagues, and then I build a list of players. I pick the players that are most interesting to me, and I'll do like a more detailed breakdown like I did for those first players, and then I'll just share all of the players with you, and that's what we're about to do. This is a long list, though, so hold on. Some of these folks are surely on rosters already, but I just have to say their names so you know if they're out there, you might want to consider them. Let's roll. Rapid fire waiver wire. Jaden Hardy, Delano Banton, Royce O'Neal, Tumani Kamara, Marcus Smart, Bilal Coulibaly, Caleb Martin, Shaden Sharp, who should be on a roster, y'all. He should be on a roster. Charles Bassey, Kevin Huerter, Dorian Finney-Smith, Jared McCain should be on a roster. Yes. Antonio Reeves, maybe. DeAndre Hunter, Klay Thompson, with Luka out, a good play. Jonathan Isaac, Karis LeVert, Buddy Hield, A.J. Green, Scottie Pippen Jr., DeLon Wright, Rui Hachimura, Peyton Watson, Santi Aldama, Julian Champagny, Robert Williams III, Alex Caruso, Musa Diabate, Kevin Porter Jr., and Drew Wiggins, Benedict Mathurin, Malik Monk, Zach Collins, Brandon Boston Jr., a.k.a. B.J. Boston, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, Russell Westbrook, my apologies, an oldie but goodie, Keon Ellis, Stephen Castle, Duncan Robinson, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Malik Beasley. Tariq Eason needs to be on a roster. Grant Williams, Yves Misi, Lou Dort, and T.J. McConnell. Now I want to quickly talk about some of the players we discussed last week and how they performed. We had Jared McCain, yes. Kevin Huerter, yes. Chris Dunn, no, he did not perform. Heck to the nah. Robert Williams, yes. Marcus Smart actually was injured, so we fail there. Heck to the nah. Kyle Filipowski, yes. Musa Diabate, yes. So we had a pretty good run last week. Now that you know who to grab off the waiver wire, check out our last episode about buy lows and sell highs. This episode was presented to you by BetOnline.